Chapter 208 Something Productive. Chapter 208 Something Productive. Walking over to Kai, Sonny cleared his throat and forced himself to not cover his eyes. The damn archer was just too dazzling. Him being shirtless in crowded places should have honestly been categorized as a public hazard back in the real world. If not, there was a gross oversight. I wonder how he was made. Probably in a secret government laboratory or a magic cauldron of some sort. I mean, there's no way that this dude is the same species as me, right? After a few seconds of Sonny blankly staring at him, Kai smiled politely. Sonny? Did you want something? Sonny flinched and covered his eyes. Don't smile at me. Kai blinked. All right. Breathing heavily, Sonny glared at him and slowly lowered his hand. That's better. And yes, I did want something. Kai suddenly livened up and pointed at his chest. What is that? An accessory? What is he? Lowering his gaze, Sonny noticed a mysterious key hanging on a thread tied around his neck. He didn't really want to show it to anyone, but with the puppeteer's shroud restoring itself in the soul's sea, there were not a lot of places where he could hide it. None that he was willing to use, at least. Plus, no one else was supposed to be able to see the light of divinity, so to them, it just looked like a small iron key. Sonny frowned. It's not an accessory. It's a key. Kai hesitated. Oh. What does it open? Sonny shrugged. How should I know? The charming archer seemed a little confused. But if it's not an accessory and it doesn't open anything, why are you carrying it around? His questions were starting to get tiresome. Sonny sighed. To open something, of course. Kai scratched his nose. But you just said that you don't know what it opens. Sonny gritted his teeth. It's a damn key, right? So it has to open something. I just carry it around in case I find something that can be opened by that damned key. What's so hard to understand? The beautiful archer gave him a strange look. Oh. I see. That definitely makes sense. Curses. That's not how I planned to approach him. Sonny instantly changed his expression and looked at Kai with a wide smile. The sudden shift looked sort of creepy. What I wanted to say, Knight, my dear friend, we are friends, right? Anyway, what I wanted to say was that I hope that this answer satisfies your curiosity. That's something a friend would say, right? The charming young man gave him a dubious look. I guess? Sonny made his smile wider, feeling his face hurt a little. Great! So we are friends. Well, some might say that it's your lucky day, buddy. Because today, and only today, probably, Sonny's gorgeous emporium offers customers an exclusive friendship deal. Just for friends of the establishment. Aren't you lucky? Kai suddenly coughed. Wasn't it Sonny's brilliant emporium last time? Sonny blinked. Was it? Well, doesn't matter. The deal still stands. Are you interested or not? The archer lingered for a few moments, and then cautiously said, But Sonny, you still haven't told me what exactly that deal entails. Is it a deal for customers you consider friends, or are you trying to sell me your friendship? Or wait, do you want to buy mine? Or both? I'm confused. As if waiting for that response, Sonny nodded energetically. Yes. I'm glad that you asked. In fact, I have an incredible item that I want to sell. It's so incredible that I am even reluctant to part with it. But since you are my friend, I am willing to give it away. Practically for free. Full friendship discount, just for you. No need to thank me, really. Attracted by the noise, the others left what they were doing and were now staring at the two of them. Effie got distracted from preparing meat and was now observing the circus with an expectant grin. Realizing that he is now the center of attention, Kai sighed. All right, I'll bite. What is that incredible item you want to sell me? Sonny remained silent for a few moments, and then suddenly stopped smiling. Oh, just something I had gathering dust in my soul sea. It's a memory that can serve as an endless supply of arrows. As long as you don't miss. The beautiful archer's eyes suddenly lit up. He glanced at his quiver and said, "Wait, really? You really have such a memory?" After thinking about it for a long time, Sunny had decided to give the blood arrow to Kai. Having the archer of their cohort armed with it would make a lot of things easier during this journey. He could potentially earn himself a bow in the future and learn how to use it, but it wouldn't be any time soon. Plus, with how dangerous the enchantments of the blood arrow were, nothing short of excellence would fly. And excellence took a lot of time to achieve, time that he didn't have. So, giving it to a skilled archer like Kai was a better decision. Their recent encounters with the iron spiders only made Sunny more certain that this was the right thing to do, but he wasn't going to give it away for free. "Yes, I do have such a memory." Then, he casually added, "Oh, did I forget to say? It can provide an endless supply of arrows, and also all those arrows will be of the ascended rank." A grave silence settled over the marble arch. You're in possession of an ascended memory?" That question was asked by Castor. Kai didn't have to ask, because he already knew that Sunny was telling the truth. His eyes slightly widened. On the forgotten shore, ascended memories were exceedingly rare, for an obvious reason. Sleepers could only get one by defeating a fallen nightmare creature, and there weren't a lot of people capable of such a feat. Added to that was the fact that not every kill provided a memory. In fact, most didn't. To receive one was the dream of every inhabitant of the Dark City. Sunny shrugged. "Oh, I have a couple." "Why?" The other being the onyx armor, which was broken and useless. But they didn't need to know that, honestly. He grinned. "Only the best wares into Sunny's astonishing emporium." "Wait, was it astonishing?" Who cares? You get the sentiment." Castor shook his head. "How did you get an ascended memory?" "You." The grin froze on Sunny's face. When he spoke a few moments later, all humor was gone from his voice, replaced by coldness. "Well, if you have to know. I got it by killing a fallen beast. Before you ask, this time, I didn't have to shake my finger or spit. I just looked at it, and it died." Then, he turned his head and looked straight at Castor. "I am very proficient in killing things, you know." Chapter 209 Fireside Banter. Chapter 209 Fireside Banter. In the end, Kai agreed to his deal. In exchange for the blood arrow, he gave Sunny 3 memories, the 2 weaker arrows he had and a small charm capable of producing fire. Sunny fed all 3 to the stone saint, bringing her amount of shadow fragments to 31. That was 4 more than she had in the past, which meant that he received the same amount of fragments that he would have gotten by feeding her the blood arrow itself. He didn't really gain anything, but also didn't lose anything. Kai was the one who really profited from their exchange. So Sunny didn't lie when he said that it was an incredible deal. After breakfast, which transpired in somewhat awkward silence, Sunny sprawled on the ground and smiled happily. "You know, guys, these past few weeks made me realize something. Actually, it was all thanks to Kai, who introduced me to Stev." Effie stretched, making Sunny stutter and lose the train of thought for a second, then smiled with satisfaction and glanced at him. "Really? And what is that?" Sunny hesitated for a few moments and said, "When I was a little kid, I loved reading webtoons about the Awakened. You know, the ones where they always explore ancient ruins, battle nightmare creatures, and grow more powerful with each victory." He chuckled. "The hero and his cohort decide on an adventure, vanquish evil, gain mighty memories, then return to the real world and sell their spoils at the adventurous shop. They spend their money to upgrade their equipment, and immediately set out on a more epic and dangerous adventure." Cassie smiled. "I love to read those too." Sunny glanced at her and sighed. "Yeah. But when I got older, I couldn't help but think, what are they thinking about? Exploring ancient ruins is not a wise thing to do. In fact, only crazy people would do it. No matter how good you are, sooner or later, you will meet something more terrifying than any human can handle and die. If this was real life, why would all those adventurers go into the ruins over and over again? The blind girl tilted her head and opened her mouth, but then closed it again. Sunny smiled. But then it hit me. They were not doing it to vanquish evil. They were doing it to collect a wide variety of powerful memories. You see, the real dream is not to be the hero, one of their companions, or even the love interest. The real dream is to be the owner of the shop where the hero sells his trophies and buys new equipment. That way you can live a pretty life without risking your neck. That's the real goal. He crossed his arms and added, after a few short years of adventuring around the dream realm and collecting memories, you can retire, open a shop, and leave comfortably for the rest of your life. All you need is to sell a memory once every couple of years. Maybe make some money off the younger, less fortunate adventurers, too. Kai laughed and looked at Sunny with curiosity. So, say that we somehow manage to return to the real world and become true awakened. Is this what you're going to do? Sunny thought about it for a few moments and shrugged. I don't know. I don't really have a lot to do in the real world, apart from compiling all the things I've learned about the Forgotten Shore into a report and giving it to a teacher who was kind to me back at the academy. So, maybe? I don't have enough memories yet to open a real store, though. He glanced at the charming archer and smiled. What about you? What is the thing you really want to do if you return to the real world? Kai suddenly turned away with a look of embarrassment on his face. Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. But after several seconds, he suddenly said in a shy voice, Avatar singer. Sunny blinked. A what? The archer hesitated for a while, and then explained. Avatar singer is a music competition show. Popular singers compete with each other, but the twist is that they are all using the stock VR avatars to perform. So the judges can only evaluate their voices and skill. They only learn the singer's identity after. Effie giggled. Why would you want to hide your pretty face, Knight? It's your best feature. Kai was silent for a few moments, and then smiled gently. I just think that it would be nice to be judged based on my skill and talent alone, with nothing else getting in the way. Also, that would be such a great way to announce my return to the fans. Just imagine, they would be so excited. That would be a perfect media storm. Sunny shook his head. It seemed that Kai was really a celebrity. Talking about things like fan reactions and media storms with a straight face. Did he even hear himself? But it was a nice dream, at least. Better than his own stupid desires, by far. Turning to Effie, he asked, What about you? What would you do in the real world? The huntress grinned. I don't even have to think about it. I would go eat chicken wings, the real ones. And then start preparing myself for the second nightmare. Pretty simple. Everybody grew silent. After a while, Cassie said, Are you sure that you want to challenge another nightmare? Effie shrugged. I have my reasons. So yes. For me, that is the only choice. The blind girl was quiet for a bit, and then said, I would go and spend time with my mom and dad. That's the thing I want to do most in the real world. Castor glanced at her and courtly nodded. I agree with Cassie. Family is the most important. When I come back, I will greet my father and look him in the eyes with pride, knowing that I did not let our clan down. Then I will try to do everything in my power to grow as fast as possible, to relieve him of his worries and propel our bloodline to new heights. How very legacy-like of him. Finally turning to Nephi's, Sunny looked at her with a subtly dark expression and asked, How about you, Neph? What are you going to do when you return to the real world? Changing Star was silent for a while, looking into the distance with a calm expression. Then, she sighed and answered in a quiet voice. I would go visit my mom, too. Everyone grew silent. Sunny blinked, a little confused. Wait. Your mom? I thought she was dead. Nephi lingered for a bit, and then turned her face away. She is. Technically. Chapter 210 Shadow of the Past. Chapter 210 Shadow of the Past technically dead? What does she mean? Sonny glanced at the others and saw that they, too, were confused. Everyone except for Castor, that is, who seemed like he knew something. A few moments passed in tense silence, which was broken by Changing Star's sigh. Looking at them, she said evenly, My mother's one of the Hollow. She became hollow while pregnant with me, actually. So I never really met her. Just her body. Nephi grew silent. After a while, a strange smile appeared on her face. It's funny, really. When my grandmother was still alive, I made a point of treating that body as nothing but a corpse. But once she passed away and we were the only ones left, well, I found myself getting a bit confused. Nephi shrugged and turned away once again. Anyway, before leaving for the first nightmare, I used what little money there was left of our estate to buy her a VIP spot in a specialized hollow care facility. They are treating her really well. But still, I don't like the idea of her being alone there. So when I return, that's what I'm going to do. Visit her. No one said anything, heavily affected by her words. Sonny stared at Changing Star, trying to imagine what it must have felt like, growing up in the company of your parents' soulless shell. With death staring at you through those empty eyes every day, always looming over you like a dark shadow, both of your past and your future. Maybe that was a part of the reason why Neff hated the spell so much. Sensing the heaviness in the air, Changing Star glanced at them and smiled darkly. What? Is this your first time meeting a Hollowborn? Well, I can't blame you. Creatures of my breed are pretty rare. In fact, even I have never met another one. Then, she sighed and stretched her legs, moving them closer to the fire. So yeah, that and dye my hair. These are the things I would do in the real world first. Sonny blinked. Dye your hair? Nephi nodded. How is that a priority? Feeling that he was missing something, Sonny scratched his head and asked, Why? She glanced at him in surprise. What do you mean, why? I'm not used to it, and it's weird. Do I need another reason? He stared at her with a perplexed expression. Noticing it, Changing Star frowned and asked with a tiny hint of amusement in her voice. Sonny, did you perhaps think that this is my natural hair color? He was silent for a while, then opened his mouth and closed it again. It's not. Nephi looked at him for a while with a strange expression, and then suddenly exploded with laughter. Her laugh was melodic, pure, and very pleasant to the ear. With regret, Sonny realized that he had never heard it before. He wished that their lives were different, so that people could hear Nephi's laugh more often. But they weren't, and would probably never be. After a while, she glanced at him and smiled. Sonny, it's silver, for a spell's sake. Who has natural silver hair? Luckily, at that point, Kai suddenly came to his rescue. Actually, I thought that it's natural too. It suits you very well, Lady Nephi. Changing Star turned to him with an expression of utter surprise. Then, she glanced at Effie with a silent question. The huntress nodded. Free web novel. Yeah, me too. I mean, who knows what you legacies are even made of? Nephi blinked a couple of times, then shook her head in bewilderment. Well, no, it's not natural. It became like that after my first nightmare. Kai leaned forward with curiosity. Really? What color was your hair before? She shrugged. Black. A normal human color. The charming archer stared at her, and then smiled. That would suit you very well too, Lady Nephi. I can just see it. However, Sonny couldn't. The idea of Changing Star without her arresting, eye-catching silver hair simply could not fit into his head. Let alone the fact that she was a brunette. How was this even possible? That would look so wrong. Right. Well, as it turned out, life was full of surprises. Today, he learned not one, but two entirely new things about the person he had thought he knew the best in the world. Who would have guessed that this would happen? There might be something else except for skimpy swimsuits to these beach episodes, huh? After that, they spent some time resting and lazily conversing with each other. However, pretty soon, people started to get restless from boredom. To combat it somehow, Sonny suggested the idea of playing a sports game. His motives were not at all dictated by a secret desire to see a bunch of absolutely gorgeous young people jump around and wrestle with each while very lightly dressed. Nope, not one bit. However, things didn't go as he had envisioned them. Pretty soon, Sonny found himself cursing as he was desperately pulling on the golden rope in a furious match of tug-of-war. Well, it was supposed to be furious. But what was actually transpiring was Effie casually holding the rope with one hand while the four of them, Sonny, Cassie, Kai and Castor, were trying to move her from the spot with no visible results whatsoever. After a while, the huntress simply pulled on the rope and sent their entire team to the ground. That's cheating. With a satisfied grin, Effie walked over and towered above him, her arms akimbo. Looking down directly at Sonny, she smirked. Weak. When did you lose your spirit, Shorty? Then, she winked and said in a mischievous tone, Back at the cathedral, you were able to perform better. Not to mention last longer. Sonny grew bright red and gritted his teeth. Shut up! People will misunderstand. The huntress looked at him with a shocked expression. Misunderstand? What are you, oh? Then, she pretended to be horrified and covered her mouth with one hand. What kind of a degenerate are you? Training! I meant while you were training! While Sonny was staring at her in utter disbelief, his mouth wide open, Effie snorted, then turned away and exploded with laughter. Shaking her head, the boisterous huntress giggled one last time and walked away. No more sports games. Ever. That wretched troublemaker will win them all, anyway. He needed to teach himself how to come up with better ideas.